Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Jeremy Blair.
And I'm Rain Whalen. Here we are, man. Season 12.
Cool.
Look
at that.
Dude, I said that at work the other day. I was like, yeah, we're gearing up for season 12. And Jose, our tenured person, was like, you're saying 12 seasons? I was like, well, yeah.
I mean,
like,
seasons. I mean, they don't
seasons.
matter. You know?
And he was like, so y'all do one every year? I'm like, no, we actually do about 2 a year.
Yeah.
I was like, so if you want to look at it like that in the sense of a TV show, we're on season 6.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Actually, it would be like season 24. But if you want to look at it like that, I guess. No.
Yeah.
I think I was right the first time.
I think you're right the first time.
Anyway. But yeah, man, season 12. That's crazy.
I know.
And you know, to think, I remember coming up with this idea. I remember running into you at Best Buy when I was working at Best Buy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, I think about starting a podcast just talking about movies. And you were like, yeah, well, be sure you invite me on. I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then this became our thing. Yeah. Yeah, because for those of you who don't remember, if you haven't listened all the way back to season 1, which
why would you?
I mean, why would you? I mean, and if you can hear them, I re-listened to
atrocious
our Lighthouse episode with Alex.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Oh no, it wasn't our Lighthouse episode. I'm so sorry. It was our shit.
I think because I was like, we were in your new apartment in that other room,
and that's when I kind of honed in on getting us better mics and making sure that we
learned
weren't
about gain, guys. I mean, it was a journey.
Yeah.
In fact, speaking of, while you're looking that up, if you guys can hear something in the background, it's my baby monitor. Haley's busy, and I'm obviously doing this, and so it's on in the background, and she has music playing so she can sleep, and it's a whole thing. So if you can hear it, that's what's going on.
Okay. It was our second episode of season 2. It was over The Devil's Rejects with Alex. Because I was like, what fucking episode was this? Because for those of you who don't know, which you should by now, our titles for our episodes tie into the movie we're discussing. But from an episode that was posted almost, let's see, that's 2019.
I couldn't even guess now what we titled that episode.
So it's called I'm Here to Do the Devil's Work.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
But I was like, what the fuck is that? And so I listened to it. Jesus Christ. I was like, what the fuck? Because of course, you know, listening now, I'm like, oh yeah, like you can hear us very clearly now.
Yeah.
You know, we have the volume for the mic set just perfectly. Like, but dude, we're so close to the mic. We're too far away from the mic. The gain is way too high.
Yeah,
even
the gain's always too high.
You can barely hear Alex. I was like, oh my God. How we found somewhat of an audience, I don't know.
No.
But
it wasn't from that.
But hey everyone, you know, thanks for listening for 12 seasons.
Yeah.
Zach.
Zach. Yeah.
Zach's been keeping the lights on.
Well, I even gave him a rundown of my list for this season so far.
Really?
So he has a little bit of idea of what we're doing, and that he can, you know, plan ahead.
Nice.
So
yeah. Well, buddy, with that being said, with this new, sorry, Han, I'm trying to find
actually
my list.
I wanted to mention something.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, first off, Dad has not watched Twin Peaks, nor has he watched Mulholland Drive yet. In case you know you were on the edge of your seat wondering what his journey has been like, it is at a standstill. But I watched a movie not too long ago. It was during our break, and I really liked it. And every time I want to talk about it with someone, they're so like they're so dismissive of it, and I'm like, but it was really good. I watched um the stage recording of Merrily We Roll Along with Daniel Radcliffe and Jonathan Groff, and
Was it good?
I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah, um,
Nice.
yeah, that was
I've
so
been
good.
really wanting to see it when I heard that they were doing a stage recording.
Yeah,
I really want to see it, especially because I think we brought it up in our Slacker episode that Linklater's working on an adaptation, essentially what he did with Boyhood, but on a much grander scale.
yeah,
Since the story is told over 27 years, which, dude, Jesus
good luck.
Christ.
Well,
But
and it's not like he could even. It's not like we could even see anything of it because the story is told in reverse chronological order. So, like, he would have to finish the movie, and that's how
yeah,
the movie starts. So, it's like, you know,
yeah,
I hope he's healthy, because like that
yeah,
sounds cool.
yeah.
But I
I
thought
think
it
I
was
did
great,
them.
dude. They all three of them deserve Tonys. They're so good in this.
Well, and as you know, Daniel won a Tony for
Good.
it, um, which I think her name is Emily, and then of course Jonathan Groff. Uh, I believe were the first two to like jump out of their seats when it was announced that he won, because they were just so happy for him.
Yeah, of
Which,
course.
yeah, I mean, there's a reason why I think, and I think the three of them, if anyone goes back and watches like their interviews together,
So good.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it, man, because I've been really, ever since I found out about Linklater's adaptation, and then Daniel being a part of the stage version, uh, it's kind of piqued my interest, and I want to check it out.
Yep.
But I just, at first they hadn't done a stage recording yet, so, and I was
Right.
like, well, I want to watch Daniel Radcliffe,
I know. It's
like no offense to the other stage versions, I want to watch Daniel Radcliffe. Like,
well,
sorry,
and like I wish more, and it's starting to happen. I think more and more is like they understand that these shows with these very specific actors and these productions, like not everyone's going to be able to see it, and so they do a recording of it, and I really like that. And I know there is a play off Broadway right now. I don't know if it's still running, but I hope so. They did Paranormal Activity on the stage,
okay,
and apparently it is so good. Like, it's scary, it's creative, it's like they worked with an illusionist to help with misdirection. Um, so your focus is over here, and they're doing something over there, and then like you're never you're never like, I'm watching a play and this is how they did it. You're like, oh my god, like
yeah.
you're just people were blown away by it, and I was like, I have to see this. So I hope they're recording it because like I won't be able to see it anywhere else. So
Yeah. One more thing before we move on for the premiere season 12. That's how I feel about, and I know you don't care about the Stranger Things play, the
okay.
first Shadow. I
Hmm.
really want to see it just because, like, so much of the last season of Stranger Things really hinged on that play.
Hmm.
And if you didn't do your research, you'd be like, why do I care about this or this? Um, I have heard Netflix is doing a live recording,
Okay, good.
so I
Yeah.
would like to see it. And speaking of Merrily We Run Along, I was kind of curious. You can rent it or buy it digitally from Apple,
Yes, which I did.
or you can buy the Blu-ray,
Oh.
which I might want to do, even though it's $34.
Ooh, wait for that to go down because it's not out yet.
Yeah,
So they'll drop that price come release day.
it comes out March 3rd, so it comes out as of this recording.
That's soon.
Uh,
That's
as
like in
of
two
this
days.
recording, it's, well, for the video, it's out. For the
Yeah.
audio, no, actually, as of this recording, it's out.
Yeah. Hey, you're right.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
That's Yeah, that's
So
soon. Normally
here's
the
hoping
price
it
would have
goes
dropped by
down.
now.
Yeah,
Ooh.
the Over the Garden Wall Blu-ray
Oh, I
dropped.
know. I am so excited for
Dude.
that.
Sorry everyone. I know I said we were going to get to the premiere,
I
but
know.
yeah, dude. As soon as I heard about that, I sent it to Ashley. She was like, "We got to get it." And then
Absolutely.
it dropped in price. I was like, "Let's fucking go,
I
dude."
know.
Anyway, with
Right.
that being said, Jeremy, so what are we opening our 12th season with? Which everyone should have known we didn't take that long of a break, so
No.
they should
Um,
hope. Well,
I was
they may
trying.
not know
You're right, and I was
because
trying to get it to be in February still, but we missed that mark. That's okay. Um, that's fine. But this week, we are discussing the um the crime drama thriller horror period piece of Ryan Coogler's Sinners.
dude, I remember when Ashley and I went and saw Oppenheimer, they had a trailer for Sinners. And as soon as it said from Ryan Coogler, I was like, oh, Ryan Coogler. And the trailer, thank God, gave nothing away.
Good.
All I
I
knew
don't
was,
remember the trailer at all. But
all I knew is that it was a horror. And then, the title flashes one letter at a time. And I was like, oh shit, dude, I have to check this shit out, bro. And then Ashley and I never got to see it of course, our local theater doesn't have IMAX, but we didn't get to see it in Epic.
no,
We had to see
I
it on a
didn't.
small screen.
Yeah.
But dude, it fucking blew me away. Which is why I'm so happy you wanted to open season 12 with this, dude.
Yeah.
Because this movie fucking rocks.
Yeah, it's so good. I remember when they announced it that Ryan Coogler's working with Michael B. Jordan again, of course, and that it's going to be like this sort of horror vampire movie. And I remember thinking, okay, maybe,
Yeah.
like who cares,
Yeah.
And I don't remember the trailers at all, but I must have seen the trailer and be like, oh, well, this is going to be really good,
Yeah.
And yeah, I was jonesing to see it. I told Haley, I was like, listen, I gotta go see this. You're probably not gonna like it, so I'm gonna go by myself. I'm so sorry, And she let me go. That was cool. And dude, I mean, yeah, same. I mean, the minute it opens, I'm like, this movie looks amazing. Like the cinematography is beautiful. The score is outstanding. It is, this is the one time, and you said it before we got started, but this is the one time where it's like it really hurts we can't use the music anymore.
Yeah.
Like this is when like that's really important because the music is everything to this movie, and it's just transcendent. The music is so good, and um, some of the stuff in here, like even on a technical level, like when we first meet Smoke and Stack, and Stack passes Smoke a cigarette. I'm like, how did he do that? you know,
Yeah, dude.
it's in one
I
shot. Like they don't cut or anything. Like he just passes him a cigarette, and I go, what are we doing? you know,
Yeah, dude. I rewatched it today, and Ashley rewatched it with me because she loves this movie.
nice.
And I even looked at her. I was like, man, the fucking blocking of this movie, man.
Yeah,
Like how did they do that so seamlessly? And of course, the answer is the easy one. They had the stand-in passing the cigarette, and then they just mapped Michael B. Jordan's face. But it's still so good.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
so
because
impressive.
it's yeah. I mean that exactly. It's impressive. It's innovative. It's like why a part of me is still like, why did he give himself such a technical challenge by making them twins? Like you could have, they didn't have to be twins.
Yeah,
Um,
they could have been fraternal twins and had someone else.
yeah, but Michael B. Jordan is just incredible in this.
Did you? I don't know if you ever picked up on this. Ashley's the one who told me. I'm pointing like she's right next to me. She's not right next to me. She pointed this out to me. Stack has dimples.
Yes.
And Smoke doesn't.
And
that's insane.
That's practical. Like, Michael B. Jordan just smiled differently. Well, I mean, Smoke doesn't smile, but he just like knows how his face works, and he knows like how he can manipulate the way he is reacting to things, and his, you know, just his facial configuration to make them different, right? And like, they were like, some actors were like, when they were doing their side of things and they were talking to both of them, that he would just do both of them. And he said he would just switch, and they would be different people. Like, you wouldn't be able to, you know, it was amazing to watch him switch back and forth. Because they have such different personalities, and they walk different, they talk different, they carry themselves so differently. And it's just amazing. I completely forgot that it was the same person doing both, because, you know, I think it helps that, you know, that Stack is more like, I would say he's a little more suave, he's a little more mischievous, he's more of the swindler, he's sort of whatever, you know what I mean? Like, he's sort of like the trickster guy, you know? And then Smoke is so stoic and so serious, and, you know, he's more militaristic, even though they both fought in the war, but he's just more of a more, you know, monotone, serious person. And it's so much fun to watch him do these two characters that, you know, they're so different. And of course, you know, like, the supporting cast is obviously also incredible.
It's amazing.
So Haley was actually watching it with me this time, kind of. She was working on her computer. This is the first time in a while that she's watched a movie with me. And the verdict is she didn't hate it. So that's, you know, that's high praise. Obviously, those who are new to this.
I was gonna say, in the Haley Blair pantheon, that's good. That's high praise.
That's high praise. And because I was like, it's vampires, but it's not scary. Like, you'll be fine. And,
you know, go ahead, finish your thought.
She agreed.
I have something.
She was like, it wasn't scary. Like, I enjoyed it. I thought it was, you know, or didn't hate it, right? And, you know, she was asking me questions, and, you know, she was also being silly during the, you know, but still, she was able to sit there and not, you know, like, freak out, because it was a horror movie, right?
Yeah. What I was just gonna say to that was, like, I've talked about this movie so much at work, and same coworker Jose, as soon as I say, I mean, it's technically a horror, he's like, oh no, I can't do scary. And I'm like, no, honestly, I was like, Jose, forget that part. It's not. I was like, truth be told, I would have wanted it scarier, but the horror element isn't the point of the movie.
Right.
And he was like, oh, okay. Still probably may not watch it though. And I'm like, ah, oh, come on. Well, that being said, buddy, why don't you hit everyone with that synopsis? Then we can really just dive super deep into this.
Yeah. Okay. So the story follows the Smokestack twins, Elijah and Elias Moore, which, by the way, Elias is the Greek version of the name Elijah. So they're technically both named Elijah. Isn't that cool? So
yeah.
So Elijah and Elias Moore come back to their hometown in Mississippi. It's 1932, and they had fought in World War One, and then went to Chicago to work for Al Capone, and doing mobster stuff. But they come back because they want to be able to share what they have with their community. They wanted to go back, see their family, be where they are, or where they're from, and share their success, which later means stolen goods, with their friends and family, and make a name for themselves where they're from. And they wanted to open a juke joint, which is like a nightclub in 1930. And so they're gathering up all the people that they know that can help them out with the grand opening of this nightclub. And one of them is their cousin Sammy. Sammy is a blues guitarist and performer, and he is struggling with his father's um, desire to have him stop music and be more of a preacher like he is, um, and devote himself to the church and not to music. He believes that blues music is a doorway to sin, devilish behavior, right? Debauchery, things of that nature. They also grab a couple of Chinese immigrants that they knew before they went to the war, to help them get food, signs, things like that, which I thought was really interesting. That this isn't just a movie about the Black experience. This is a movie about people who are ostracized from society, who are looked down upon, who are discriminated against, no matter what their race is, because it's not just the African American experience and the Chinese American experience, but you also get a hint of the Irish American experience, and so it's a lot of so. Probably one of my favorite characters in the whole movie is Delroy Lindo's character, Delta Slim, who they get to also perform, and they, of course, entice him with booze to perform, and so things are starting to come together. They buy this old sawmill from this shady looking, Southern gentleman, um, who ends up being the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan of that chapter in Mississippi. By the way, I was telling Haley this. I think that is the lamest title, and it's super dorky to say I'm the Grand Dragon of this organization, but that is the legitimate title of head of a chapter of a Ku Klux Klan. So they're getting things together. They are inviting people in, and it's a huge success. They're selling beer, they're selling wine, they have food, the music's incredible, the dancing's great, and it's just a fun time, right? Smoke has reconnected with his estranged wife, who is into hoodoo and other sort of mythical, sort of like magical healing things, right? Like sort of like voodoo, but that's more New Orleans, right? Right. And Stack has run into a woman he had an affair with, Mary, played by Haley Steinfeld, and she's just incredible in this as well. And so they're reconnecting with each other. However, Sammy plays this song, and it is such a powerful performance that it pierces the veil between our world and the spiritual world. Okay, and who comes upon this is Remick, and he is a very old vampire who sees an opportunity to get more people to be in his vampire clan, right? A part of his vampire lineage. Because he feels, Remick feels as if he is saving them, right? He's making them into vampires, but there's no pain, there's community, there's fellowship, there's a familial aspect to becoming a vampire. It is almost a religious experience, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
like Sammy's father in Christianity, just like Sammy with the blues, just like Stack's ex-wife or wife. Sorry, I'm trying to.
Annie.
Thank you. Um, just like her hoodoo, right? There's a lot of spirituality going on in this film that they all interconnect. Um, and so eventually vampires sort of take over and people start dying, people start becoming vampires, and at the end it is just Smoke and Sammy that have to protect themselves from this vampire clan. They end up being successful. um I'm yada yada through a lot of this.
No, you're fine.
And Sammy goes back into town um to see his father. Smoke stays behind because he had a feeling that the man who sold him the sawmill, it was too easy. They're gonna come back, and
Mm-hmm.
he um, gets his weaponry and just kills everybody. The clan shows up in the morning to potentially like kill and lynch the African Americans that were there, and he just kills every single one of them. He gets shot in the process and dies there on the property while being reunited with his wife and his infant daughter who died a while back. Sammy ends up going to the chapel where his father is preaching. His father begs him to drop what's left of his guitar and join him at the church and embrace himself with Christianity. He does not. He keeps his guitar neck and drives off. And 60 years later, he is a successful blues musician played by Buddy Guy, which is the coolest surprise of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Those of you who like blues music and follow blues music, he is the last living legend of blues. And who comes walking into his establishment 16 years later is Mary and Stack. They made it out of the sawmill before all hell broke loose. And of course, they're vampires. Um, they ask him to play them a song, and they ask if he wanted to join them in this eternal life. And Sammy declines, and they leave. And that's Sinners.
Dude, you know, one of the things I think that makes Ryan Coogler such a fantastic writer is he knows how to write such a great villain. I mean, again, using Michael B. Jordan for Black Panther, you know, we understand Killmonger's motivations,
yeah,
for why he wants to do what he does. You know, we understand that because he's lived in America while, you know, T'Challa has lived this very privileged life, and he doesn't know the struggles that, you know, his brothers and sisters are facing outside of Wakanda, you know?
right.
And so we sympathize with that. And dude, it's the same thing with Rimmick. You know, like you said in the synopsis, he doesn't see his vampirism as a curse. You know, he himself doesn't view himself as an evil person. He sees this as, you know, community and, you know, love, and, you know, he truly does believe in equality. You know, I think when he tells them that, like, you know, hey, you know, we're believers of equality, I think he's being genuine.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he just doesn't understand that in the process of making people vampires, he is stripping them away of their free will and stripping them of their identity, which is something that I also want to talk about when we get to later, is Ryan's take on vampire lore,
Yeah,
which I really like too.
I did too.
But you know, we understand why Rimmick's doing this, and I think that's what just makes the movie so much compelling as well. is that not only is it a great story, but you have this villain who doesn't see themselves as a villain,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just, it's so good, man. And
Yeah.
I kept telling Ashley, I was like, you like, you hate to root for the villain, but like, you kind of see his point.
Yeah.
You kind of understand where he's coming from. He's just going about it the wrong way.
Right.
Um, it's so
I
good.
agree. Yeah, so what I loved about, the discourse with this movie is, and it's a great example of this because there's a lot of movies that do what this movie does, which it gives you a story, and then as you're rolling along with the story, boom, we changed our minds. It's a horror movie. I tricked you, right?
Mm-hmm.
This happens a lot. I think the most obvious example is From Dusk Till Dawn when it comes to this movie specifically because of
Son
the
of a
vampires,
bitch.
right? Stop. That's all I'm going to mention. But
Okay.
what I really liked, and what I like people who talk about this movie in terms of just horror movies in general, is if you were to take out the horror elements of a horror movie,
Mm-hmm.
is the movie still interesting? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is an obvious yes, of course it is.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
Because you take out the horror elements and it's still like, oh my god, are they gonna be successful? Are they, going to keep themselves safe from persecution in the Klan and white supremacy? And right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
is Sammy going to listen to his father and drop this whole thing? And Smoke doesn't want him anywhere near this either, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is he going to listen to Stack? Is he going to listen to Slim? It's still so compelling, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to know the answers to these things, and I'm interrupted with vampires.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes a good horror movie, because you're right, Remick is also in a way sympathetic and in a way understandable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. I like that he's not just a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
That's so boring. And I think, um what modern filmmaking has become is people understand that that's boring, you know?
Yeah.
And so you need sort of these understandable motivations with these villains. And the reason why he's a villain is just because he's getting in the way of our protagonist.
Yeah.
Um, I think that you know, if we were just following Remick, I think it would be a different story, because what he's doing is he is converting people from hatred and bigotry to symbiotic, peaceful,
Mm-hmm.
sort of welcoming and um, an inclusivity way of life, and that's okay. Like, that doesn't
Yeah.
sound so bad. And so when he's saying it, it just so happens that he's surrounded by people who are covered in other people's blood, and you're like, I mean, it doesn't seem like so great. Um,
Yeah.
but um, he had those two characters in the beginning, who were part of the Klan, who were white supremacists, who were persecuting non-whites, um,
Mm-hmm.
and they no longer, um,
Yeah.
once turned. And so there is a virtue in that. There is value in that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really interesting. If you wanted to, we can talk about the lore, because the vampire lore and what what Coogler is using here is really interesting,
Yeah.
because he is of the idea that we are aware of these things, right?
Yes.
Which I like, because it's like, what is he going to choose? And I like he chose being invited in.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
classic garlic, classic. you know, wooden
Yeah.
stake, classic, right?
Yeah.
I think the thing that is a little bit different is you have your, what would you say? Um, like it trickles down um to, like, you have your alpha vampire and then you have the people he's turned below him, and they share this sort of hive mind in a
Oh,
way,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I also really liked the hive mind aspect of it because, um, kind of going back to shout out to now our previous season, Kronos. Um, you know, I feel like I feel like a vampire having a hive mind would it makes sense, that something would kind of conjoin them with, like you said, the alpha with the people he's turned, and I really like that it's not just kind of like a physical hive mind. It's literally like downloading their memories and sharing the
Yeah.
memories. As Stack tells Smoke later, I have his memories too. So like, this is the way, um, which I really appreciated that Ryan was like, yeah, we're going to include this hive mind aspect to these vampires.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so funny, dude. So I was watching, and I was, Haley was asking about it, and I was like, yeah, he's like, now they're sort of all of like a hive mind. And she's like, oh, all stemming from him. I go, yeah. And she's like, oh, so it's like a MLM? It's like a multi-level marketing sort of thing? I said, yeah, kind of.
In a way,
In
I
a way, if
mean,
you want to think of it that way. Yeah, sure. But you're right. The sharing of memories and experience is really interesting. Um, sharing his pain is really interesting. Um, but again, it makes it more of a spiritual and religious experience. Um, stemming from the whole spiritual, religious overtones of the movie in general.
mm-hmm,
Um, like, it even goes as far as Smoke still wears the Mojo bag. You know,
mm-hmm,
like he keeps telling her that it's all bullshit or whatever. And but he still has it.
mm-hmm,
Like, he's not. I mean, he believes in some of it, obviously, but he's not 100% on board. And he doesn't like that. She's taking all this different currency and not um, respecting herself enough to make real money off of this. If it's what she chooses to do.
mm-hmm,
Um, but he still has enough belief to to think that it works, right?
mm-hmm.
Because Stack doesn't wear one, you know.
No.
Um, and so, um, okay, I want to talk about. I think what is the most important aspect of this whole movie is the music.
Yes.
So, I like in the beginning, it gives you a little rundown of sort of we're just gonna give you a baseline of this is what you have to hold on to, right? Like,
Mm-hmm,
people of different cultures, very specific people, have this power to infiltrate the spirit world through music, right? And it's telling you about the Irish, the Choctaw, the Africans, and how these people are very important and they're seen as very important within their specific cultures. They're able to make contact or at least pierce the veil of the spiritual world through music.
mm-hmm,
And I think that's really interesting, right? And it also, like, if even if you they didn't even mention it, but, like, even if you believe in sort of the classic Crossroads Demon, deal that, like, Robert Johnson made,
Mhm.
allegedly, um, when he was starting out as a musician and became very successful and very quickly and has this unusual way of playing the guitar that almost seems supernatural, and he must have made a deal with the devil or a crossroads demon or something, right?
Mhm.
And it doesn't even mention that, but if there's sort of an underlining thing of like it it's important that you know that, right? and
Mhm.
um and of course, like, the unbelievable scene of the "I lied to you" sequence
Mhm.
is it's unbelievable. Like, how do you show someone having the supernatural ability with music and having opened a door to the past, the present, and the future of culture and of
Mhm.
musical culture? And it's just brilliant to integrate different musical styles within the song, have them be intermingled with the people in the juke, and having them sort of interact with other people, but not really. And they're contributing to the song itself with their different styles. Of course, that of um, like ancient African music. We have, of course, Sammy. We have um, funk, uh, electric guitar in there. We have
Mhm.
turntables for 90s hip hop. We have ancient Chinese dancers and musicians also.
Mhm.
We have Native American musicians. It's incredible. I couldn't get enough of it. And
Yeah.
having the non-diegetic sort of, like, it's this surrealist way of stripping down the structure of the building itself and having it on fire, and like, how do I want to put it? I want to put it like in showcasing what is happening in there, right? Like revealing themselves to the
Mhm.
world, to not only the good but the evil, right? And that's sort of the the price you pay for this thing, right? Because evil can
Mhm.
follow you as well, and that's Remick. And having him look upon this representation of the revelation that this specific supernatural event is happening with Sammy's song was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the cut to see the building still standing,
Yeah.
and that it's this powerful that Remick almost can see through the building.
Right.
Um yeah, it's amazing, and I love that, kind of what you were saying earlier about, you know, if you strip away the horror elements of the movie, we've got all this drama going inside the building, with, Stack and Mary,
Hmm.
Stack, kind of finding his feelings for Mary again. It was essentially, like an unrequited love kind of thing. But he felt like, that he wasn't good enough for Mary. And then we have Smoke trying to keep this business afloat and have sort of an ear to the ground that's going on with Sammy. We have all this other drama that's happening. And then again, like you said, oops, now it's interrupted. We have vampires.
Right.
Um and something else I just thought of too. Sort of an imposing force as well. Is also making Rimmick white. Is also a choice that Coogler made, because he could have easily made him black as well, but you know, kind of it made me think a little bit of our shout out to our Min episode, that even though Rimmick is here, still preaching in a way that if he turns you, well, there's no more hate. We can have fellowship, we can have community, we can have family, we can have love, we can have equality. But being the leader, in a way, it's sort of I'm sure to these these black people, another form of slavery.
Sure.
And I think, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I like I said, I literally just had that thought. A little inside baseball. We had to take a quick pause so you could check on Miss Maya.
Yeah.
And that thought like popped into my head. I was like, Rimmick himself, his race is kind of imposing. Now,
yeah, of course.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep going back to Rimmick. This is what's always fascinated with me with the character of Rimmick. Coogler layered him so well and so nuanced that you wouldn't look, which is one of my favorite scenes, which is the Rocky Road to Dublin scene.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't really bat an eye at that, but he is an Irish vampire,
right?
And that song, no one knows where it came from. The earliest recording of it, I think, or not recording, the record of the lyrics, I think, is like the 1800s. So we can infer that Rimmick is at least over 100 years old.
Yeah.
Which is like, and he clearly grew up, because as he says to Sammy towards the end, that the men who stole my father's land, he clearly grew up during the British occupation of Ireland.
Yeah.
When they were, as the British Empire was spreading through Ireland and Scotland, and so his character is so nuanced. And again, I think that's why Coogler made him a sympathetic villain. But again, also being a white man to these black men and women, they don't see this, especially for Smoke. He doesn't see this as freedom. I think, again, maybe I'm reading it, but as another form of slavery.
No, I don't think you're reading into it. I think like that's a good representation of what's going on, right? Because he is essentially like holding them captive by giving them this immortality, but also having that connection with him and everyone else that they can never get rid of, right?
There's no individuality anymore.
No. And so, like, you are being stripped of your individuality, which, happened with slavery, right? Stripped of your humanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also. But you're right. Having him be white, but Irish is interesting because he is white, therefore he has this sort of upper hand in society. However, he's Irish, which means he understands the persecution of the African Americans. Not as much, right?
Not as much, yeah.
Not as much, but still, right? There is that shared connection, and that's interesting. All I can think of, like, every time we mention Remick, I can see like the red in the eyes, right?
Dude.
Did you know
that they couldn't see?
No, did you know that Coogler got the idea to do that from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish?
Really?
The death character, the wolf, has the red in his pupils, and he was like, "That's cool." And he
shout out to Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. That movie rocks too. Like, if you haven't watched it yourself, buddy, you need to watch it. It's so good. Like, holy Jesus, it's such a good movie.
Well, because someone mentioned it to him, and I was like, "That's a stupid thing to say to him." And he goes, "Oh, that's funny you mentioned that. That's where I got the idea for the red eyes." I was like, "That's crazy."
Because see, all I knew is that they kind of took inspiration from animals. When you take a photo of an animal,
Mhm.
their eyes shine. So I knew that, and I
It's
knew that
also
the
very Blade
context.
Runner too, because Blade Runner, they do a lot of that.
Yeah, oh yeah, we
Yeah,
have the replicants.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and I also knew that the context they developed to do that, no one could see.
that's
Like, they could not see at all. Like I think Michael B. Jordan said when he was doing his stack scenes, they had to like almost like tell him like, all right, this is how many steps you're going to take,
that's
um, especially Josh O'Connor. Yeah, he was like, I could not see
poor guy.
whatsoever. Yeah, I know. And then he had to be put in a blonde wig for 28 years later.
Gross.
Um, uh, but yeah, man. So I really want to talk about now just the technical aspect of this movie.
Sure.
You know, I know we mentioned it in quite a few episodes actually shortly after the movie came out, and I know after you and I finally saw it. I could listen to Coogler talk about fucking film stock for like hours.
Sure.
That whole was it was Kodiak, right? That he did that little kind of thing for where he talked about
I
the
think
type
it
of
might have
film
been
they
Kodak.
used. I think it was Kodak.
I don't know who provided the 70 millimeter film he used, but it might have been Kodak.
But yeah, the fact that he decided to shoot this on two different types of film. Now, granted, the two types of film were filming simultaneously, so the cuts are so good that you can tell when it goes from
Of
widescreen
course.
to the full spread IMAX. But the one I love the most is when they're gearing up to fight the
Yes.
vampires and the screen actually spread. Dude,
Yeah.
holy shit. Even
Yeah,
mom,
that's cool.
I made mom watch this when we were in Austin last, which that took some convincing because she was like, I don't want to watch a scary movie. I was like, it's not that scary. I swear to God. She's
Promise.
like, yeah, but like it's like she claims she got scared from the Nosferatu trailer.
Mm.
I'm like, the movie's not even that scary. Like Nosferatu is not even that scary. I was like, it's just atmospheric, and it's anyway. But yeah, she clocked that, and she was like, that's cool. I was like, yeah, man, that's the cut of using both of
Well,
those
and it's a
films, bro.
delicate balance because like you don't want to draw too much attention away from the story, right? Because
Right.
like this is a really intense scene. You're gearing up for an action sequence, and you don't want to take someone too much out of it. Like you don't want to remind them they're watching a movie, but it's cool, like I
Mm-hmm.
I liked that, since we're about to start an action scene, that we're gonna widen the screen and we're gonna give you more to look at. Um, I thought that was so cool. And you're right, there are moments when you can sort of tell that, okay, that was my full screen and now we're back to the black bars. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but not very distracting. It's very Nolan, before he
Yeah.
just you know, decided to, hire very strong men to just film the whole movie in IMAX. Uh,
Yeah. Shout out to Hoyte van Hoyte. That man is doing God's work with an IMAX camera.
yeah, dude, those things are
Um,
heavy.
yeah. But then, again, like we touched on with, the technicality of bringing Smoke and Stack to life, because, like you said, Michael B. Jordan does such an amazing job making them so distinct,
Yeah,
not only in costume. I do like this red and blue.
me too.
I remember when I first saw the first poster image with both of them on it. I was like, I don't know if I do like that. Now, of course, having seen the movie, this will be 3 times. Having seen the movie, I love the color coordination.
Yeah,
Um, and again, yes, it is to help the audience differentiate. Smoke is blue, Stack is red, but the colors also work with who they are as characters. That it's not just oh yeah, he's red, he's blue. And Michael B. Jordan just does such a great job again making them their own character. And and it's not just I'm trying to think of another example of an actor. It's not, shout out to our Social Network episode of Armie Hammer doing the Winklevoss twins. Granted, yes, the Winklevoss twins, they are two different people.
No, they're not.
But
I mean, like,
but they're not.
Right.
And look, all of the controversies aside, Armie Hammer is a good actor, but he wasn't really doing anything to tell us
there wasn't a lot of differences. Maybe in the way that they react.
I think how they wore their hair.
Well, and their hair was different, yeah, but like the way that they speak about things, one of them was very rule oriented. The other one was a little bit more of like, he pushed back against authority a little bit more. I couldn't tell you which one was which. But you're right. This was more, but then you have to think like the Winklevoss twins are supporting cast.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not with them all the time, kind of in a way. But with Smoke and Stack, we're with them the whole way, and so they need to be very different. They need to be their own separate individuals. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it's he could not have done a more perfect job. It's just incredible. And there's little things. There's little things that also I did not catch the first time, which at the very end, when it's just Smoke, okay, and he's waiting for the clan to show up, he removes his mojo bag, right? Saying that like he doesn't need this protection, like he's on his way out, and he knows it, right?
Yeah,
and he's going to do whatever he can before then, but he doesn't want it. He doesn't want the protection. Like if he goes, right? But he and Stack both wear coins around their neck, and before, I think it was before Stack woke up again, Smoke took the coins off of his neck, right? And instead of putting them on, he wrapped it around the Tommy gun when he was firing at the clan, sort of like saying, like, Stack is still with me in battle, right? Stack is still by my side during this. And I thought that was really cool, and I didn't notice it the first time. And I thought that was really cool. Also, and they don't focus on it as much in the movie, but there is a very cool homage to The Shining when Stack is stuck in that room and he's asking them to let him out. The camera is under him, just like Jack in the pantry.
Well, something I just noticed, and Ashley kind of even was like, "You didn't notice that?" When Stack turns, his gold, like, inlaid tooth sharpens.
I didn't know.
Like, yeah, he's got his I guess it would be his canines. They sharpen, but he had his gold around the tooth next to his canine, and it sharpens as well.
That's funny.
I was like, dude, that's pretty sick, bro.
How does this match?
And even, I know, dude. How has it been gold that's been crusted over a tooth?
Manipulates the gold.
The gold. Yeah. Oh, and Ashley was like, "Yeah, you didn't notice that?" I was like, "No." Like, because like I knew like, and that was another thing I liked about the lore, is that we don't just have the traditional two fangs, you know, that they actually have more sharp teeth. but I just never noticed it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Yeah, man, this movie's so, it's such a good time, and it's beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
Like when older Sammy asks Stack, like, that was the greatest moment of my life, the greatest night of my life. Would you say the same? And Stack's like, of course. Like, you know, last time I saw my brother, last time I saw the sun, and we get that another
Yeah.
full IMAX shot, dude.
I know.
It's so gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
Um, now, I think I've mentioned this to you before, and I know putting this out there, someone's probably going to hear it, which means someone's going to contact Ryan Coogler. But oh well. Um, I applaud Ryan Coogler for saying I have no plans into making this into a franchise, which thank God,
Right.
honestly, because like as I was telling someone at work, I was like, when can we go back to the days of getting a great movie blockbuster again without needing to make it into a franchise,
Yeah.
However, I would love, and again, I think I've told you this, I would love sort of a pseudo prequel on Rimmick and
Mhm.
how he was turned and the person that turned him, and why Rimmick has this whole like, oh, this is all about community, it's all about love. Like, did the person who turned him, was it just like a straight vampire? And like, no, like it's like we turn as many as you can. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But again, it's because Coogler wrote such a, again, I use the word nuance, I'm going to use it again, such a nuanced villain. I want to know more, but I know we're not going to get it, and I'm just gonna have to live with that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I also liked that um, within the juke joint,
Mm-hmm.
um, Sammy's father is right. Because there's, of course, booze, there's, this very, loud in a bombastic music going on. There's adultery going on. Sammy's dad was right. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to say it, but uh, like it was like a den of what you
Of
would like.
sin.
Yeah, it was a den. Like it is like in a traditional or stereotypical sense, like that is what's going on in there. Um, and you know, it's just fascinating that we're not the movie's not saying like it didn't happen or like it's not watering it down or anything. Like it seems like a great time. But in terms of a spiritual or religious sense, like this is sort of debauchery going on
Mm-hmm.
um within the juke, which I thought was interesting. And sort of, again, um it does have you think, about what you want Sammy's future to be, right? Yeah, this is great, but it comes with its own troubles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, so does a restrictive upbringing in the church, right? That comes with its own troubles. And
Mm-hmm.
being a hive mind vampire comes with its own troubles. Um, and hoodoo comes with its own troubles. It's you know, and of course the blues. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think Slim is sort of like the the downside of the blues is,
Mm-hmm.
Slim is, sort of he's dedicated his life to it, but he's also ruined his life doing it.
Yeah.
Um, and I like that we're, seeing all the facets of, these choices and these potential avenues that Sammy can choose. Um,
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that he becomes successful at being a blues musician, which is great.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, when in the theater, I'm looking around everywhere when Buddy Guy is on stage. I'm looking. I'm like, is anyone else freaking out that Buddy Guy is playing an older Sam? No, okay, it's just me. My my aunt and uncle, who live in San Marcos, they love blues music. My uncle is such an avid blues aficionado, um, that I knew who Buddy Guy was years ago, and um, because he would play his, I mean, obviously too loud, but he would play his music. And Buddy Guy, man, it was so good. I have one of his albums downstairs. I think it's from the '60s. It doesn't matter, but I loved it. I thought it was so emotional, and there's so much passion behind the music. And what I thought was even more interesting, and how Coogler is stacking significance, is he has Ludwig do the music, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Shout out Ludwig Göransson. That man is also doing God's work.
So what I find so fascinating is, yes, he's a phenomenal, talented composer, but historically, there are blues influences and blues traditions in Sweden that he just grew up with. Like, it's not like he had to learn about it to do this. Like, he knew about it already because it's ingrained in Swedish culture already. And I find that fascinating.
That, you know what, man? That is also very fascinating.
I mean, it's incredible because, again, he's stacking significance to these things. Like, the more you dig into it, the more it's like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, he's not picking Ludwig just because of his talent. It's because of his heritage, and it's because of where he grew up and his culture, because blues is significant there. How I got there's an interesting story that I can't really remember right now, but it has to do um, with I think it's like African Americans from America made their way to Sweden. And of course, and they brought their traditions and culture with them. And way back then, it was the blues in terms of music. And so blues got integrated into Swedish culture, which is crazy.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ludwig Göransson is he's such a great composer. He's worked with, of course, Donald Glover. He scored The Mandalorian, which, God, I hope Favreau's bringing him back for the movie. And here's what's even crazier: the guitar that Sammy plays, he scored the whole movie on that guitar.
That's insane.
Yeah. Like, I was watching a behind the scenes, and he was like, "Yeah, this is like, I recorded the whole thing on this guitar." And then Ryan wanted Sammy to use the guitar. He was like, "So, yeah,
it's a really cool guitar."
Like, it's really cool, and becomes such a pivotal item, especially, again, its significance, which we haven't even really talked about, the lore within the Smokestack twins of them Smoke killing their dad, and then Stack trying to make Sammy not feel bad, so telling him that it was Charlie.
Shit, I forgot.
Was a famous musician's guitar, and then Smoke kind of not necessarily shattering that at the end, but being like, "No, that's our dad's."
That's our dad's.
Yeah, which is probably why he rebuilt it. I think, I'm going to be honest, I think if Smoke had let him still believe it was, Charlie's guitar, I don't think he would have rebuilt it. I think, knowing it was his cousin's guitar, and technically both of his cousins died that night, I think that's why he rebuilt it. Yeah, man. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have anything more to say, but praise for this movie because it's so good, man. And it's, you know, we've talked about it on the show that you and I both agree that the Oscars at this point has just become a popularity contest, and it's run by, you know, people who maybe this isn't giving them enough credit, but after hearing the reports about last year's Oscars, how they didn't even watch half of them, they don't know what they're doing. However, this movie better win all 16 Oscars it's been nominated for.
I have a feeling, and I guess I'm a pessimist when it comes to the Oscars, because I have a feeling that they believe that's the award. Like, that's enough. Like, we're gonna give this movie 16 nominations, which is an incredible feat in and of itself, and is breaking records and all of that. And they're like, that's your prize.
That's enough.
Yeah. And in a perfect world, either Train Dreams or Begonia will win Best Picture, in my eyes. That would be great.
Not Weapons?
I'm sure it's going to be one battle after another. Or Marty Supreme, maybe. But I would start watching the Oscars again if Train Dreams won Best Picture. I'm like, okay, I'm back.
Now we're playing baseball.
Okay, yeah, okay. But it won't, and that's fine. And yeah, but of course the Oscars has and by the way, it may have always been this way, and I was just, so ingrained with the film culture and Hollywood and the glamour and the dream of making movies and telling stories and all of that. That maybe I just looked over it, and it's always been like this. But like, if Delroy Lindo, I think he's nominated. Like, if he doesn't win, that's insane. Because he should. They didn't even nominate I Lied to You for Best Original Song.
Really? That's a little,
it's a shame.
That's a little disappointing. Yeah.
I think Michael B. Jordan should win for Best Actor. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? Like, no matter how well other actors have done this year, he had to do it twice. So
yeah,
it's like, like, whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to happen. I am shocked F1 is nominated for Best Picture. Like, I saw it. It's fine. Best Picture? Like, that's crazy. But, whatever. It's a cool movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that director's he's on the come up, man. That's the same guy who gave us Tron Legacy, and a lot of people are now reevaluating Tron Legacy after Tron Ares, and they're like,
we also did, he also did Top Gun Maverick, I think, too. So,
I told you he's on the up, bro.
Yeah. No, I got it.
Well, with that being said, buddy, are you ready to wrap up?
Yeah. Sinners is unbelievable. A true triumph in the genre. It's really cool. I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, as soon as it starts, like, I watched it digitally on 4K because I watched it in the living room, and it looked unbelievable. So, I mean, it was cool just to watch it, just to look at it. It was cool. So, I mean, the movie's amazing. Ryan Coogler, I am so excited to see what he does with the X-Files. We'll see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed, man. This movie rocks. It's so fucking good. The other sad thing about this movie is no one's going to take a lesson from it about, an original, just a straight up original movie. Yeah. Some directors will, of course, but yeah. With that being said, buddy, are you ready to hear about what we're talking about next week?
Yes. And by the way, I know you have a theme, and I know you're not going to tell me. You want me to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going to be thinking a lot as we do this, right? To see what connects these things, because it might be as stupid as, like, the posters all have green backgrounds. Like, and that's your theme. Like, I'm thinking, like, crazy outside the box on these things. So,
Cool.
I will be paying attention to everything. Okay?
Cool. I'm not going to give you any hints.
That's fine.
I'm going to do my best to throw you off. Yeah. So for everyone who didn't hear our season 11 finale, which it's okay, you didn't. That's fine. That's okay. Game of Death was.
It's bad.
Yeah. My theme for this season, Jeremy's not going to know. I hatched this plan as we were getting close to ending season 11. I pitched it to Ashley. She was like, "Oh my God, yes, you should do that." I pitched it to my mother. She said, "He's going to hate you. Why would you do that?" And I'm like, well, that makes me want to do it even more.
As long as the movies are good, I don't care. Like,
well, and I gave myself stipulations, so I'm not going to tell you those either.
That's okay.
Because that would give it away. But I gave myself stipulations, so trust me that I'm gonna pick some good ones.
Okay.
And again, I'm gonna do my best to throw you off the trail.
Okay.
I told Ashley, I'm like, I am worried he's gonna figure it out pretty quickly, but that remains to be seen.
I am going to guess every time. So whenever you say the movie, I'm gonna guess, and I will be starting today. So
okay. Well, that being said, so for my my first pick of this new season, we're going to be discussing a movie that honestly I think has some lore within our show. I know we've talked about it, not actually talked about the movie, but I know we've mentioned it so many times.
Okay, cool.
And I'm like, you know what? I think it's finally time to finally dissect this movie, because I love this movie. I know you love this movie. And I know for sure we have not talked about it.
Thank God.
So next week, buddy, we are discussing the 1988 hybrid comedy Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Cool.
Okay. You know, because I told Ashley, I was like, that's the first one. That's the first pick. I was like, but how's that gonna follow Sinners? And then talking about the blocking, I was like, boom, right there.
Blocking.
There we go.
Great.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I know we've discussed our love of this movie. I know all the way back in our Back to the Future 2-parter. I know we brought it up a lot, and so I feel like, you know, we've sprinkled this movie across the entirety of our show.
Mm-hmm.
So now I feel like it's time to finally talk about it.
Cool. Yeah.
With that being said, do you have a guess?
I will guess.
Okay.
And I'm completely fine with being wrong. I mean, it's like, duh, it's the first pick. I have, you know, 2 would be like, okay, I can sense it. 1 is insane. So
yeah,
there's so much to choose from. But I'm just gonna take a swing, and I'm gonna say, is the theme that each of these films have a really cool physical media release?
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's my guess. So, because I have I have the 2-disc DVD over there, and it's so cool, you know. And I know that you think it's really cool. So
yeah, I think it's really cool that my granddad has, and he wouldn't let me keep it.
Maybe he'll leave it
but that's not the thing. That's a good guess.
I'm thinking,
you know,
really
maybe
outside the box on these. So
that's a good guess. But no,
okay,
that's not it. Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Cool.
Again, what a crazy follow-up for me from this great movie we talked about. But, you know, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is just as good.
I don't think I have anything lighthearted on my list.
Oh, fuck.
Nothing.
There's let me look back at my list. There's a couple.
Oh, it's good. So it's good to have some balance. Because I don't think I have anything.
That You know, that'll be my only clue I give you. That was one of my stipulations. There had to be a balance.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, man.
Okay.
Cool. So we're really starting this off with a bang. Cool. Well, everyone, we hope you enjoyed our season 12 premiere of Sinners, and we'll see you next week for Who Framed Roger Rabbit.